Hello everybody. We're going to quickly go over how to edit videos with AI. If you don't know who I am, my name is Parker, and I run an agency called ButtonScale. You can find more information on me in the link below, but for now, let's get into the video. Most of this workflow is going to hinge on three main apps. Claude Code, I'm using the desktop app, Palmyra Pro, and HeyGen Hyperframes. Hyperframes is a new product from HeyGen, who's known for making AI avatars. We're not going to focus on AI avatars today, so let's get started. We're first going to want to navigate to Palmyra Pro. You can just search this on Google. Palmyra Pro is an editor built for integrating with Claude Code. It's free to download and free to use. It should have auto-selected which platform you're on, whether Windows or Mac OS, but you can hit download up here and hit allow. I already have mine installed, and so I'm not going to bother with installing it, but you can go through the install instructions located on their website yourself. Now let's open Palmyra here, and when you first open it, it'll give you two different choices. For first sign in, it'll give you their sample project, and it will show some AI generated footage, and it will demo how you can generate video inside of Palmyra. It might also ask you to put in your Anthropic API key to use Claude inside of Palmyra. You can do this if you want, and you will actually get some unique benefits doing it this way, but we're not going to do it this way for a couple of reasons. Mainly because if you do it this way, then Claude is locked inside of Palmyra's workflow, and you are unable to add additional MCPs such as perhaps Higgsfield or Hyperframes in our case today. So we're going to stick to normal Claude Code, and we're going to use the MCP function on Palmyra. It might also prompt you to do this when you install it. Since I've already installed this app, it is not prompting me, so I'll show you where you can find that MCP connector here. Quickly, I'm going to go down to Settings, then I'm going to go to Agent, and you see MCP Server. It says that it's running, although my Claude hasn't been accepting it recently, so I'm going to go to the setup instructions. There's a server URL, and it's just on my local desktop. We're not going to worry about that. And then there's Install in Claude Desktop. We're going to hit that real quick. And you see it's showing up right here. Now mine's already installed, so yours might look a little different than what I have, but for the most part, this is what's going to show up. Next, let's look at how we're going to manage our footage. I'm going to assume that you've already shot a video. If not, this is how my workflow normally goes. Whenever I shoot a video, it starts with ideation, and then I write my script. I make sure to have it more as a bullet points, so I hit my talking points, and I like to print my scripts and use big text. Then I go shoot my footage. I usually try to do everything in one take, but sometimes I need to grab extras. And then I compile everything into my computer, and I keep everything under one file structure. I normally have a root folder, and I'll name it the name of my YouTube channel in this case. And then inside of that, I have universal assets. These are things like my company logo or other assets that I come back to a lot, such as transitions, music, titles, etc. And then I'm going to have subfolders, and those subfolders are for individual videos. I'm going to put a PDF of my script in there, and then I'm also going to put my footage there. I'm going to tell Claude here to navigate to the folder that I keep my previous videos footage in, and we're going to try to recreate some of the stuff in my video. Please navigate to the folder called My Name Is and look at the contents. Okay, it looks like it's found the stuff in my folder. Now I actually have a project folder and an export pre-done. But we're going to open up Palmyra, we're going to create a new project, and we're going to overwrite some of those. So I'm going to come back to Palmyra here. I'm going to create a new project. I'm just going to leave it untitled so I remember which one this is. And here we are inside Palmyra Pro. It's pretty simple to use. It looks a little bit daunting at first for some, but it's pretty simple. You're going to notice up here on the left, we have our media pool. So there's no media yet because we haven't put anything in there. Don't worry about that. In the middle here, we have our viewer. Whenever you put video into the timeline, which we'll touch in just a second, you will see its output here. As you edit it, you will see what your final product will look like. Over here is where you edit your settings. Not your general program settings, but more so the footage that you're editing. That could be like position, scale. Right now it just has project settings, such as the resolution and the frame rate that we're set at. We're going to leave it at 1080p, 30 frames per second. And then down here is your timeline. This is where you're going to put your footage when you're trying to edit it, when you're going to cut it, when you're going to move it, but really, Claude's going to be cutting it and moving it, not you. One thing it might also have up is this side panel here. I'm going to expand that so you can see it better. Right now it wants me to create an account and add my Anthropic key. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to keep this one the free version, as I expect you will as well. Let's move this out of the way real quick, and we're going to put Claude Code right here. Now that I can keep Claude Code and Polymer up at the same time, now we can start editing. I'm going to start by loading my footage. You can see I have my footage here. I'm not going to play it because I stumble over my words a lot and it has a lot of awkward pauses. But just know there's a lot of cuts that need to get done. So I'm going to move this onto my timeline. Now Polymer is optimized for working with AI. So you can notice that it's already marked the audio sections where I paused or I said the wrong things. It has recognized the space. Now I'm going to go to Claude and I'm going to have it cut out some of the empty spaces. This part can take a little bit depending on which model you're using. Me personally, I'm using Opus 4.8 on high. If you go down to Sonnet, it might miss some things, but it will work faster. You could use Opus on a lower reasoning model, but then it might not catch some of the nuances. So I'm going to leave it on high, and I'm going to ask it to take its time, and I'm just going to take a step away. Please use the Polymer Pro connection and go through the current timeline. You should cut out all of the empty spaces, and you should cut out any times where I repeated my words. Always prioritize the better of the two takes and try to go for clarity and continuity. Cool, looks like it's finished up. What Claude did here was it went through, read the transcript, looked at the empty spaces, cut the empty pauses, and went and refined some of the grammar. Picked the right takes, and it might have picked the wrong one. So I'm going to go through and listen to my footage and see how it did. Hi, my name is Parker, and I run an AI consultancy called ButtonScale. I used to produce short-form content for brands. I actually did that for quite a while. I have extensive experience in editing and producing content in various forms. So you'll notice right here at the beginning it did this wrong. See that? Didn't catch that quite right, must have missed the transcript, so I'm going to edit this myself. Cool. And we're going to keep going. Content for brands. I actually did that for quite a while. I have extensive experience in editing and producing content in various forms, but became very, very competitive, first of all, and second of all, it takes a lot of work to produce just one video. And as soon as I saw that AI messed that up too, so we're going to catch that. Cool. Be a big player, and that AI was going to start taking a lot of white-collar jobs. I decided to get out of that and start producing my own AI systems to try to combat this one-on-one. Recently, I've been considering getting back into content, mainly because the tools that I'm looking for and the models that I'm using are becoming more capable. And able to do what I need them to do in order to produce content. So consider this video to be really more of a proof of concept. I wish to create a workflow to produce AI-powered videos and serve them to everybody else. So it looks like I did it right, for the most part. Polymer Pro is an easy editor to work with, so sometimes it'll make mistakes. It should only take you a few minutes to go through, edit those mistakes, and then continue on. What we're going to do now is we're going to move on to hyperframes. In order to use hyperframes, we're going to go to their website real quick, and we're going to look at how to install it. So this is their website. We're going to hit Get Started, and it's going to have a command it wants me to run. Now I can run this in the terminal. Funny enough, Claude Code has its own integrated terminal, so we're going to do that there. I'm going to hit Copy, and we're just going to put this away. I'm going to hit Terminal, give us a little bit of space here, and I'm going to paste that command right there, and hit Enter. I'm going to authorize it, and now it's going to install some skills for Claude. Now it wants me to select the skills that I wish to install. This can be a little bit scary because there's a lot of text to go through and it is in the terminal. It's pretty simple. It's going to have you press spacebar to select what you want and then enter to initialize. So we're going to do that real quick. We're actually going to select all of these. I want all of these skills. Just using the arrows to navigate through here. I can navigate through and unselect things as well by hitting the spacebar. I want all of these. Great, and now I'm going to hit Enter to confirm, and it's going to ask which agent I'm using. I am using Claude Code, but you could also do OpenClaw, you could do CodeMaker, Command Code, Continue, all of Hermes, you could do OpenClaw, you can do all of them. But I'm going to stick to Claude Code because that's what I'm using. Okay, enter, and it's going to install that into my project. I could also do global, so I can use it anywhere. I've already done that, and I don't want to mess up my file system, so I'm just going to install it into my project. Now that it's installed, now I can use Hyperframes. We're going to close this, push this out of the way, and I'm going to put Claude into plan mode. Put it into plan mode, and I'm also going to turn the effort up. I'm going to put it on extra. And I'm going to ask Claude to think about some graphics it can make. I want to do full screen graphics, and I want to do side screen graphics. So that's a third screen, or that's full screen, or that's lower left corner. I don't like lower left corner stuff though. I do it sometimes, but I'm just going to ask Claude to do full screen graphics. Please go through the entire video and think of some places where you could use Hyperframes to build some full screen graphics. Don't bother with quarter frame or quarter screen or anything like that. I want full screen graphics, and I want them to be visual, and I want them to explain the concept things that I talk about in this video. Now when you put Claude into plan mode, it's going to think, but it's not going to act. And it's going to think of all the different things you can do. It'll propose a plan to you and give you a full breakdown of what it wants to do, how it's going to do it, and what it's going to look like. Once you've approved it, then it will go and act. And it'll do it typically faster than usual this way. It will also be a higher quality. Claude will come up with some interesting visuals, but it's probably not going to be everything that you asked for. So you're going to have to guide it in some places. And you're going to say, I want you to do this, or I want you to do something else. And sometimes it'll do things maybe that you didn't expect, which has happened quite often, usually down to a miscommunication. Perhaps I didn't understand Claude, or Claude didn't understand me. It went and executed some code, and it didn't end up looking the way I want. It's all right, nothing here is permanent, so just ask it to try again and do it a different way. All right, now it looks like it's proposed a plan after it asked me some questions. Let's go through and look at it. Yeah, it looks like it's already looked at some of the other graphics that I've done in my project. Looks like it wants to do it in the visual style that I've already done my other projects in. So I'm going to approve this and let it continue. Okay, I'm back. Looks like it's done a few things. Let's take a look at what it did. Claude is still wrapping some stuff up. It's been working for just about nearly 25 minutes here, which is quite the thing. It's been working for a while, but it made quite a few graphics, and I'm quite excited to see what it did. It's inspecting its timeline, and it should be wrapping up here. Let's take a look at what it did.
I have extensive experience in editing and producing content in various forms, but became very, very competitive, first of all, and second of all, it takes a lot of work to produce just one video. As soon as I saw that AI was going to be a big player and that AI was going to start taking a lot of white-collar jobs, I decided to get out of that and start producing my own AI systems to try to combat this one-on-one. Recently, I've been considering getting back into content, mainly because the tools that I'm looking for and the models that I'm using are becoming more capable and able to do what I need them to do in order to produce content. So consider this video to be really more of a proof of concept. I wish to create a workflow to produce AI-powered videos and serve them to everybody else. I'm not too keen on AI avatars. I am real, and I am standing here in my office here to produce this video. But the editing was done within a shorter period of time than usual, and I can produce them easier with higher quality graphics than I normally would. So, if you're at all interested, you can drop me a follow, and you can probably reach me on my other platforms. And assuming you see this video and it's out, there's gonna be another video on my channel where you can see exactly how I built it. Thanks, goodbye.
Well, that's pretty cool. Didn't include anything about my business, but I can add that in later. I can also add in my own clips and do my own editing so far on top. So this should be a pretty solid workflow here. Anyone else can replicate this, and notice, while it did take a while for Claude to do it, I didn't do it. It took Claude just about 30 minutes for it to wrap up this whole thing here. The entire process, start to finish, from when I started this video until now, is about 40 minutes, but that was me standing here. I could have started this thing and then walked away a half hour ago and came back to a mostly finished video and done the finishing touches and called it good, which is pretty cool. I actually really like this workflow, and it's become very, very powerful for me. So I hope that this kind of system can work great for you. But before I send you on your way running this, I'd like to give you a few words of wisdom here on how this should work, and I'd like to show you how to wrap up this workflow in its entirety and export your video. The main thing I want to make you aware of with Claude is that Claude cannot see video. It can see screenshots and it can read transcripts, but it can't hear audio and it cannot see a continuous video. It could interpret what the video might look like by seeing the start, middle, and end frames, or might even be able to pull more frames than that if you really wanted it to, but either way, it is not a video analyzing model or a video generating model. It only has the ability to see images, and only in stills, so it can't actually dig into your video the same way you or I would be able to. So sometimes it will miss certain nuances because of that. This also means that it can't do sound effects. If you want to have sound effects, you will need to do that yourself. If you were just trying to make ads and you were going to put music underneath it and not go for any cinematic sound effects, and you're not trying to fully immerse your audience into a story, then I think this will be enough for you. Now we're just going to say, for the sake of this video, that this is enough, and we're not going to add anything else to this video, although we could totally continue editing if we wanted to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come into Premiere, and I'm going to go up here, I'm going to hit Export. When I hit Export, it's going to ask me what format I want, what codec, and it has those blacked out. I'm not going to change those. I'm just not going to bother with it right now. There are plenty of things that you could do. I'm not going to worry about it right now because the default settings are what I set in the first place. So right now it's set to MPEG-4, which is MP4, and its resolution is set to match the timeline, which is 4K. I'm just going to hit Export here, and I'm going to pick my file destination, which is going to be right over here. This is going to say Timeline 1. I'm going to call this Video Demo. Whoops. And I'm going to save it. And we're done. And that is how... Cloud came by. It's super dark in here suddenly. And that is how you produce videos with AI today. If you want to drop me a follow so you can see more stuff with how to use AI in practical ways, that would be much appreciated. Thanks. Goodbye.